Okay, and I know she will do the best. I know because I'm expecting the best speech from her, and I'll wait. It is not about how much night here it would be because I have the habit of staying 3:30, 4 o'clock. So I'll wait. No, no problem. Thank you, Nandini. Thank you, Sukanti, and thank you all the members of Charampa Mahavidyalaya and the guests and every faculty. And let's make it a success because it's a global event. Everybody's watching. There are nearly 1,000 members are attending this meeting, and I have sent a link to many people around the globe. Let's see how it works out. And thank you, Sukanti, again.
Yeah.
Yes, Bhai, they will be joining, I think, one by one. And I have started recording the meeting. And I want to say that this meeting is being recorded. So anyone who is not in proper etiquette, kindly mute your video and mute your audio too while someone is speaking. Otherwise, it may create technical disruption. So I request all the participants. Now 41 participants have joined, and I will expect more with time. All the members of our department have joined, and other staff members are also joining.
Pitambar sir joined. Pitambar sir.
हाँ madam. Namaskar.
Yeah, Pitambar sir has joined. He's there. He has joined, and the principal sir is there. So we will start.
Only 2 minutes, ma'am.
So we will
Just
start.
only 2 minutes. Yes.
Now, what about Debmalya sir? Debmalya Biswas sir, Nandini?
I think Nandini is muted. Nandini, you have to unmute.
Yeah. I think he's joining. He has the link with him. I think he's joining. So do you want me to give it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
he joined.
Yeah, he joined. Yeah.
Sir, very welcome to you to our webinar and unmute.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have heard you in Arpit. So we are so proud that we are amidst us. Now let me start the meeting.
It's my pleasure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good
so
morning,
I extend my
Good morning, ma'am.
Now shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is 9, already 9.
So I extend my warm and hearty welcome to all the participants and dignitaries of this international webinar. We have amidst us Prasanta Bhunya Mr. Prasanta Bhunya from America, Toronto, and Canada, Toronto, and Dr. Nandini Sahu. She hails from IGNOU. She is now director of School of Foreign Language, and she is a professor of English there. She is a poet of repute, and she is an internationally acclaimed writer also. We have amidst us Dr. Anil Kumar Mohapatra from FM University. He is the professor of political science, and he is our NAC mentor. We are proud to declare that he is our NAC mentor, and he is like our friend, philosopher, and guide as far as NAC accreditation is concerned. Now we have amidst us Professor Debmalya Biswas. He is a scholar, researcher, and he has contributed a lot to the field of online learning and education. I have heard him and watched his video in Arpit. He has contributed a medal to Arpit, which was organized by Gujarat University, Professor Dr. Joshi, and by Swayam platform and Swayam of MHRD of our country. So I welcome all the participants, our principal sir, HOD madam, my senior colleague, Professor Pitambar Nayak sir, and other teachers, professors, students, all who are present here. Today we are going to hear our resource persons, that means our honorable and learned resource persons, Professor Nandini, Mr. P.K. Bhunya from Canada, and Professor Debmalya Biswas sir. They will be speaking about online virtual education, online learning, and our national education policy. So we will now going to listen them. I won't take much time. Just to uh, 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 I want to request our principal sir to give his welcome address and welcome all our guests and dignitaries to this platform Google Meet. Sir, please continue. Sir, unmute and start.
Very good morning to all respected guests, teachers, and all participants. Today is a special day where we have two prominent guest speakers from
three speakers.
Yes, three prominent guest speakers from international and national level. The pleasant surprise is that our guest Prasanta Kumar Bhunya and Dr. Nandini Sahu belong to our state, Odisha. First of all, I welcome our chief guest of this international webinar, Dr. Anil Kumar Mohapatra, Professor of Political Science Department, FM University, Balasore, Odisha. He is well known to us. He is presently guiding us for NAC accreditation process. He is our mentor and always responds positively whenever we need his guidance and support. We are really fortunate for his presence among us today. Again, I welcome you, sir, to this webinar. Now I welcome Mr. Prasanta Kumar Bhunya, sir, Senior Program Facilitator in TNO, the neighborhood organization. Mr. Bhunya is presently staying in Toronto, Canada. Thank you, sir, for collaborating us. I am glad to know that you love Odia literature so much. You are a poet and a writer of repute. We are proud to have you among us. Again, I welcome you, sir, to this webinar. Now I welcome Dr. Nandini Sahu, madam, who is not only a professor of English, now in IGNOU New Delhi, but also a very established writer in English. As I came to know, she has authored more than 14 books of literary value. Madam, we are really fortunate to have you as our speaker. Again, I welcome you, madam, to this international webinar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I welcome Debmalya Biswas, who is a final year doctoral researcher at the Center for Linguistics, Jawaharlal Nehru University. I have heard that he is very talented and an eloquent speaker. I am very much glad by presence of such dignitaries and large number of participants from different countries of the world. I am thankful to the HOD and faculty members of Department of English of our college for organizing such an international webinar. As a principal, I must say a few lines about my institution, which named a Charampa Degree College, established in 1979 in a beautiful natural environment. It has 3 streams such as science, arts, and commerce. There are about 1,500 students in 14 departments. About the topic, I can say new educational policy is inevitable, and online classes are only mode of education in this COVID-19 pandemic. I won't take much time. I am hopeful that our honorable resource person will enlighten us and our students. Thank you. Thank you all.
Sir, here I want to present a song in honor of our Odia international speaker, Prasanta Kumar Bhunya, who loves Odia so much and Odisha so much, and he must be missing Odisha. So in honor of him, I want to present a Odia song written by Godavari Mahapatra, Tunga Sikhari Chula. So I am presenting my screen. That video will play. Now, this is after this Odia song, and after paying my heartfelt thanks or tribute to my thanks to all the participants for listening it and tribute to my motherland, my Odisha. I want to just continue the program. I now request Madam Satirani Mahanti to introduce our honorable guest to the participants.
Hello everyone, Namaste. Wish you all a very pleasant and delightful morning. I, Satirani Mohanty, Head of the Department, Reader in English, extend my warm welcome to all the participants, academicians, dignitaries, scholars present in this intellectual international webinar. I feel proud to announce that we have galaxy of learned persons with us today. At first, I have great pleasure to introduce someone very special for all of us. I feel honored to speak a few lines about my ex-colleague, Professor Dr. Anil Kumar Mohapatra, who has a strong bonding with us. He is now working as the Professor of Political Science at FM University, Balasore. He had also served two other famous universities named Utkal University and Berhampur University. He undertook his research at the University of Oxford in 2012 and at the University of Heidelberg in 2013, receiving two prestigious fellowships from British Council and Baden-Württemberg. Professor Mohapatra contributed more than 60 articles in both print and electronic journals of repute. He has published 2 books and successfully guided 5 scholars for PhD and 26 scholars for MPhil degrees. Our Anil sir has presented papers and delivered talks at more than 70 national and international conferences. I am sure that all the participants will be motivated by listening to him. Today's attraction is the winner of Odisha Living Legend 2014, Youth Inspiration Awardee for Art, Culture and Literature, and also awarded as the best teacher in 2008. He is no one else but our learned resource person, Mr. Prasanta Kumar Bhunya, who is a talented and versatile writer. He loves to write articles, stories, doggerels, and poems. His educational background in science and teaching has given him a broad base to approach many topics. Being apolitical, most of his pennings reflect the social attitude in relation with science, religion, philosophy, life, and education as the prime highlights. He regularly posts his Odia write-ups in a special page in Facebook. Although he is abroad, far away from homeland, he is a true Odia in spirit. He is determined to serve Odisha till his last breath. He is a firm believer of the philosophy Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and inspires the young minds with message of love and brotherhood. Professor Bhunya was the senior academic coordinator in the Pearson Educational Service and in Jnana Bharati as the HOD of biology for 3 years before he left for Bangalore. His poetry, I Am a Girl, was selected and published by International Women's Association in Toronto. Two of his poems on fall are selected for International Anthology of Poetry and placed in top 20. Such an exemplary person is our speaker today. Sir, let your words flow and we be ignited. Now I am super excited to welcome our next resource person. Why I am so excited? Because her talk is very relevant to all of us. She will give her talk on national education policy and online education through distant mode. Just a brief account of Professor Dr. Nandini Sahu, the Director, School of Foreign Language and Professor of English, SOH, IGNOU, New Delhi. I feel proud to announce that she is a triple gold medalist in English literature. She has received the gold medal from the Honorable Vice President of India in 2019 for her contribution to English studies in India. She is the author and editor of 14 books. Her area of research interest cover Indian literature, folklore, cultural studies, American literature, and also children's literature. She is the chief editor of Interdisciplinary Journal of Literature and Language, a biannual peer-reviewed journal in English. At last, let us welcome our speaker, Professor Debmalya Biswas, the final year doctoral researcher at the Center of Linguistics, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. As an academic, he has taught a diverse range of students in JNU and Birla Institute of Management Technology, as well as at Galtottiers University, Greater Noida. He has been invited as resource person and subject matter expert in the prestigious annual refresher program in English language teaching coordinated by UGC HRDC Gujarat University. He has significant experience as an editor with the Language Learning Division, Macmillan Education India, and Qualified Learning Systems. With such prominent and intellectual persons, we look forward for a scintillating session. Now, I invite our dearest Anil sir to come to this virtual platform and enlighten us by your valuable words. Over to you, sir. Dr. Professor Anil Kumar Mohapatra.
Sir, unmute yourself. Unmute, sir. Unmute. Anil, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. And I'm really overwhelmed to listen the introduction given by HOD of English Department in Charampa Mahavidyalaya, Madam Satirani Mahanti. And one gets embarrassed and also honored as well, because I'm getting embarrassed because when you are a guest in your own home, and honored because such a star-studded international platform where people joining from Bhunya are joining from Toronto, and Nandini Madam is joining from IGNOU New Delhi, and so many erudite participants. So it's a star-studded one. So I welcome everybody, and Madam has introduced me as a professor. So I'm a professor by profession, but by a poet by passion. So I must add here that I used to write in Odia and also in English, and one anthology of my poems have been published, you may say released in Oxford when my stint in during my stint in Oxford. You can check the anthology of poems is the rubric is the photo spot and other poems. So I'm very glad that at least I'm fitting into this webinar where the people, very renowned people in English, they are here, and I am also fitting into English, because in that way that I have written an anthology in English, anthology of poems in English. Anyway, that has been published by Panchashir. I'm not marketing it, but I'm saying that this way I'm not a NAC mentor, rather I'm fitting into English, because English is everybody wishes to speak in English. Then one's capability, one's prowess in English speaking also gives some difference. Anyway, I welcome you all, and I am thankful to all Principal Brajakishore Balji, and also Satyani Madam, Sukanti Madam. And as an ACT mentor, I must say that how Charampa College is growing. All of us know that how monotonous is this academic, this webinars and online, international webinars, or you may say, how these online platforms have become more and more monotonous. But the way Sukanti Madam has added the song, and the people were dancing, people were inviting somebody, so like that. So the hills, the landscape, everything. Now that added, that has that monotony has been replaced by some music and good ambience. So when this pandemic started, we did not know what will happen. But what happened? 500 billion students have been affected, and the teachers. Till now, all the sectors are opening up, but accepting these educational institutions. So all the teachers, all the students are really affected. And we are asked that how to replace all these things. After a break, now we started resuming classes, resuming all these educational activities. So now, what I understand, these the online classes, the actual classes have become virtual. The classroom, what I know, that the beds now replacing the benches. Beds are replacing benches, and this internet is replacing the college. The actual is replaced by virtual, and the vibrant classroom has become monotonous and also drowsy, and so that kind of thing is happening. So these are being replaced, and the classroom, our classroom, maybe the dust was there, maybe noise was there, but the classroom, there was eye contact, there was one-to-one discussion, one-to-one contact. But we are all here losing all these things, but we are still managing. And because we have to find some alternative. That alternative, as you know, the classes, the Google Meet, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, then Zoom, then Skype, all these are providing alternative to our classroom. So gradually what happens, we are being engaged in these classrooms, but there are many difficulties. Gradually what happens, all the teachers are providing, the whole day, back-to-back classes are there. Back-to-back classes are there. We are straining our eyes, straining our brain, straining our sleeping pattern. So everything gets disturbed. So now, actually, if you look at Hegelian dialectics, you know that once there is a thesis that will give rise to antithesis, then a synthesis will come. So the process of dialectics, that means we are moving from good to better, better to more better, then we are reaching, we will be. So this is the kind of eternal unfolding of the spirit, what Hegel said. And Marx also followed that. So that I am now thinking how this has provided an antithesis. The actual one was having some lacuna. For example, today we are having our Bhunya sir from Toronto, Nandini madam from IGNOU New Delhi. So had it been actual, Nandini madam would have preferred, no, 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 I cannot go to Charampa. You know, we have to, I have to alight in Bhubaneswar airport. I have to travel by car. No, 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 it is not Sukanti, it is not at all possible. But now Nandini madam is eager to accept the invitation because it is possible through online. So if you look at Hegelian kind of thing, the process of growth, the thesis has been challenged. So the corona, this COVID-19 has brought antithesis to the existing thesis, because we were lacking something what was present in the actual world. So in the actual world, actually what was happening? That there are many good things, but at the same time there was something which we were all missing. Sati madam, Sukanti madam, Bolo sir, Bhunya sir, and Nandini madam all will accept the antithesis that yes, actually now we are trying to add actual virtual to actual. So this virtual is being added. I know so far as I recollect, the very everything shall pass away. The miller of the day, everybody was saying everything shall pass away. So now this phase, one day it will pass away. So when definitely it will pass away. Nothing is eternal. So that will pass away. But when that will pass away, we have to remember what the experience the corona COVID-19 period has left or given to us. That is, we have to rope in the intellectuals from outside, intellectuals from far distant corner of the world. So nook and cranny, everywhere you can connect through this the internet. So I think this, as you know, this is a kind of new normal. This is a kind of new normal is happening, and that new normal demands that we have to adapt to this internet kind of things. Yes, I understand. If you look at my experience in Fakir Mohan University, you know that out of in my class, out of 32 students, maybe 16 are attending, or it is sometimes less than that. But you know that is the only alternative. But that cannot be that cannot replace the thesis. So there are some good points. At the same time, we are managing. The COVID-19 has urged us, compelled us to accept and adapt all these things. So now there is when it is said. Also, I remember, which cannot be cured, that is to be endured. So we are enduring things. So I think gradually we will switch over to the actual world, and at the same time we have to take the blessings of the virtual one. And I'm very thankful that I will be listening to great speakers like Bhunya sir, Nandini madam. They will be speaking on the new educational policy, and also the online classes, and this all these things. So the virtual ones. So I think that will be as an ARC mentor. I wish my college, also my parent college, where I have evolved or grown up as a professor, and that college will definitely secure a very good grade in NAC, and so with the very active what you say active support of the principal, Professor Bal. He's day and night calling me, and calling me for what? Calling me to know, calling me to express his express his wishes, that he wishes to see the college getting a good grade. And you know that everybody is sleeping. Everybody is sleeping. Dr. Bal or Sukanti madam, Satirani madam, all my college, the previous colleagues, all are joining hands because they wish to take their college to a greater height. And when others are sleeping, so at that time, Charampa College is awakened. So I am proud to be an alumnus of Charampa College, proud to be a teacher of Charampa College, and I'm proud to be the NAC mentor of Charampa College. With this, I thank you all the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and also I am looking forward to listening to Nandini Madam and also Bhunya Madam, Bhunya sir, and what I understand, we all Odias are also finding the occasion to rise to the occasion so that we can rope in our Odia people who have become successful in their own fields. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving your opinion about virtual learning and how we are missing our actual classes now in this pandemic period. And we are today here to listen to our resource persons about how virtual learning can be blended with actual learning. And I want to invite now Mr. Prasanta Kumar Bhunya to present his speech about virtual learning and future of education. I request you, Bhai, to please start.
धन्यवाद मु क्षमा चाहूँगी ओडिया रे आरंभ कली बोली 2 मिनिट मु ओडिया रे कहिबी तापरे इंग्रजी भाषा को आसीबी एठारे उपस्थित थिबा समस्त शिक्षक छात्र कर्मकर्ता समस्त को मोर प्रणाम आ समस्त ही सम्मानर पात्र तेणु आज केवल शिक्षक शिक्षकतार कथा हेबानी जो शिक्षक माने भविष्यतर समृद्धि मार्ग छात्र मान को देखाई थांती सेमानक पय दीपद कहिबा काहेकि आमे माने निस्वार्थ होई पेशा को आपणे निछु आमे एक भव्य राष्ट्र तथा विश्व भातृत्व अमरावती निर्माण करिवार एक स्वप्न नै छात्र मानक पय प्रस्तुत करूछु तेणु सेही विषय मु दीपद कहिबी so now I will come to English because it's a global platform and everybody is ready to listen, so welcome. On behalf of Charampa Mahavidyalaya College and with Sukanti, Madam, it is a greetings for all of you, and we at Toronto are very much proud and happy to be collaborated with Charampa Mahavidyalaya, and we are TNO. TNO stands for the Neighborhood Organization. So the Neighborhood Organization is a community-based multi-service agency in Toronto, which is providing the community service since 1985. It is the one of the largest community service for Toronto, and I can say Ontario also. We are a non-profit registered charity funded organization through generous donation, government grants, foundation support, and corporate partnership. Our program, services, and activities are supporting low-income, marginalized, and newcomer communities across the Toronto. More than 50 languages. We are providing service in 50 different languages, and we are serving more than 80 different countries of the world at no cost. They all are free. Our central locations are in Thorncliffe Park and Flemington Park, where I am working as a senior program worker and program coordinator for education, health, and care. So to learn more about, Sukanti can provide all of you the website of our TNO, the Neighborhood Organization. But now I will take you with me, and with respect to Nandini, who is present here to give her speech on national educational policy through distant mode. And my honor goes to Dr. Anil Kumar Mohapatra, Professor of Political Science. He's ardent speaker, and thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And Debmalya Biswas is also present here. So he's a final year doctoral research at the Center of Linguistics in Jawaharlal University. His research interests span the broad domains of discourse analysis, English language teaching, and linguistic philosophy. Thank you, everyone. And my thanks goes to all the staffs, principal, teachers, students, and the audience who is present across the globe to listen this. So dear sir, dear madam, and dear students, and dear everyone, this is not a speech ceremony. We are discussing here about education. So when I was asked for to be the guest. So I asked Sukanti, what made you think that I can be a guest and I will give speech to everyone? Because I'm not habituated that. So prior to that, let me introduce myself. So when pandemic is there, you all people are in isolation. But I'm 52 now. From last 50 or 45 years, I was in isolation. Nobody knows who was Prasanta Maya. So there is an audience here, Mr. Dhirendra Kara. He's my brother. So I think Anil Mohapatra's friend also. He is Anil Mohapatra's friend. So he told Prashant, you can't sit idle at home because we Odia people need you. I told, hey, I can't do anything. Just my books and me. That's all. No, he told no. Then he pulled me out of this isolation. So when pandemic came in, you were in isolation, but I am in the open. So before pandemic, I was in isolation, you all were in open. So that was our conditions. So without ado, let's go into, let me introduce myself. In 2001, because everyone, what I'm hearing from last 1 year, everyone is saying, this has been changed, that has been changed, this has been started, that has been started. No, it has all started from the very beginning. It is all started from the very beginning. Let's see, why we are talking about virtual classes today. Don't you think virtual classes was there before 2000? Yes, it was there. It was already started. Because when I first came to Berhampur from a small village, Jagannath Prasad, so some of my students told, sir, why don't you do classes online? I told, how is that possible? They told, sir, it is Skype, you can take on Skype. And you will not believe, in 2001, from Berhampur, I used to take online classes for students through Skype. In 2005, I moved to Bangalore. So in Bangalore, I got a job in an international organization called as Tutor Vista. So at that time, Tutor Vista was teaching 68 different countries in online. So from night 9:30 to 1:30, I used to teach online education through Tutor Vista. So that was the year 2008. Then 2009, Manipal K-12 education took this Tutor Vista and we became EduRite. So through that also we did virtual classes. I was invited to Nepal, Kathmandu to teach the knack of all the virtual classes and all its tricks and treats. Then in 2010, I came to Pearson Education with digital, virtual, and all type of virtual education classroom settings. So from 2001, 2008, 2009, 2010, now it is 2020. In TNO now I'm taking virtual wellness session for health of our seniors. And you will not believe the average age of the seniors are 86-year-old because they are from 65 to 105-year-old and they are taking virtual classes through online, and from the same room, I'm teaching them, I'm talking with them, and they go virtual with Android. You will not believe. Those people, they don't know how to use Android. Now they're using Zoom. They're using Microsoft Teams. So welcome to the world of virtuality. Welcome to the world of simulations. So they say the problem is out there, but I see no. If there is a crack, I see light through there. I don't see problem through a crack. I see a light through the crack. So there was a humorous story I heard in my childhood. There was a person, he came to a clinic to see the doctor. So he saw a long queue, long line was there. And everybody, they take off their shirts and standing in the queue. And he asked the person, hey, I want to go inside. He told, no, then you have to take off your shirt. He told, but I have a problem in my teeth. Why I need to open my shirt? He told, sir, at least you have a health problem, but I don't have a health problem. I'm the postman. I came to deliver the envelope to the doctor. Why I need to take up the shirt? So, sir, problem is not lying there. The problem is the virtual world, the virtual education is already there. Now we are going to explore it because we are in a situation when there is no option is open. Now we are going to knock the door of virtual classes. Why? Because there is a saying in Bible, there is written, ask, you will get the answer, seek, you will find it, knock, the door will be open for you. So now we are doing that ask, seek, and knock thing. because pandemic is knocking our door. So I always insist the students that don't worry, as Anil sir told, this day will also not stay, this will also go. But as a biology student or biology teacher, I can say, I know SARS went, COVID came. So COVID went, we don't know what is there in front of us. So let's get ready. Let's buckle up ourselves. We don't know what we are facing ahead. So to get that, I always say to my students, hey, listen, let's you take a live classes or virtual classes or whatever classes, have 5 qualities always in you and have 5 elements all about you. So what are those? First 5, have your discipline, dedication, determination, dare and dream. If you leave these things, you are not a true student. Now you have to say, go for another 5, that is watch. So word, action, thought, character and heart. So when you combine all those things, we are a good teacher, you are a good student, and the world is okay for us. Let it be pandemic, COVID, SARS, we don't bother about it. So let them stay outside. Because for me, COVID is just a virus. Because I was a biology professor, I know COVID is just a virus. If you can understand the logic, because you see, in villages, people are killing every snake, thinking that every snake is poisonous. No, my friends, snakes are not poisonous always. Some snakes are non-poisonous too. So when you are fearing this COVID, no need to fear. Just follow the prevention and protocols. What the World Health Organization is saying. Don't look every day to the WhatsApp and Facebook what everybody is writing about. Take ginger water, take tulsi water, take honey. Don't follow those things, because virus don't obey your traditional rules and regulation. Virus has a scientific protocol. He or she follows those things. So now, I recall the song. You may put on YouTube after this program. Don't put now. Everything gonna be all right. Bob Marley sang this song long back. You listen to that song, it will lighten your heart. Because friend, we have one thing with us, hope. Don't leave that. So that hope will take you wherever you want to go. Another thing is imagination. The imagination, that is the powerful imagination. Now we will come to the education. So again, I will say one thing. If there is a problem and you know the solution, no need to be panicked, right? That's the first point. Problem is there, you know the solution, no need to panic. Number 2, there is no problem, no need to panic. And if there is a problem but you don't have any solution, by getting panic also you can't do anything, right? So the thing here, you have to do nothing, you have to do what you have to do. So go with that. So what is that? So let me take you to the biology. Amoeba is an organism, single-celled organism. We say it is immortal. In pages of Ramayana, Mahabharata, how amoeba can be immortal? How is the living being? How is it immortal? Yes, amoeba can be immortal because it overcome 2 factors. Its anabolism and catabolism are in ratio. So that's why. Because if you are getting 1,000 rupees but spending 2,000 rupees, you are in problem. But if you are getting 1,000, so what I'm going to say, the amoeba, anabolism and catabolism, it always coincides and it can overcome adverse conditions. Now that is the point number 1 for today's virtual education thing. Let's go over adverse conditions. We got an adverse condition. Keep it out of the door. Let's do what we have to do. That's number 1. So I'm not talking about the future education for tomorrow or 5 years or 10 years. I'm telling forever, my friend. Every problem, first send a solution, then it comes. Because you find whenever you ask a question, there is always answer present before. But what we are doing, always we are thinking, first the question, second the answer comes. No, answer always there. We need to find in a proper place. So here I will just read a line I collected for all of you because I can't remember so big line. It was told by Faulkner, William Faulkner, on receiving Nobel Prize. Though he told for the literatures, but I am telling it for teachers and students. Thus listen very carefully. Wherever I am reading poet or writer, you feel those words with student and teacher. Then you will understand what I want to say. I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal not because he alone among creatures has an inexhaustible voice, but because he has a soul. He has a spirit capable of compassion, sacrifice, and endurance. The poet's and the writer's duty is to write about these things. It is his privilege to help man to endure by lifting his heart, by reminding him of the courage and honor and hope and pride and compassion and pity and sacrifice which have been the glory of his past. So the poet's voice need not merely be the record of the man, it can be one of the props, the pillars, and help him endure and prevail. So we will endure, we will prevail, just for timing, forget the pandemic. It is there, let it be. So let's go on our life. So now come to the next point. Today, some of the example I will give from three great writers, great philosophers, great educationists. Those three are Edward de Bono, Gilbert Hiett, and Alexander Manu. Whenever you get time, dear friends, go with that. So they have given so much ample examples and solution for future. So you will be amazed by it. Because we have a proverb, right? We have a quote saying, when problem comes, then only we are worried what to do, what not to do. But these are people, they did so much research beforehand, many things. Because in the practical thinking, Edward de Bono gave ideas what should be the virtual education of our future, what should be our medium of the education, and how we can go above it and beyond it without getting any problem. First, we need to the way to understand things. First, if any problem comes, we need to get different ways to understand it. Once we understand, then let's use that understanding for that problem. Then the yes and no symptoms, because on the back of your mind, always two things are going on. Yes, no, I will do or I will not do. I will go or I will not go. So first you face yourself first, because you are in Bhagavad Gita, there was a saying, I think in chapter 16, chapter 16, you are your friend and you are your enemy. You can upgrade yourself or you can degrade yourself. So Krishna told Arjuna that you. So we are always fighting with ourselves, not with the world or not with any problem. So it is us. So we have to face ourselves first, then we have to go to the future. So in this virtual education, in the futuristic education, what I can say, we have to come over that yes and no system. Then we have to go through imagination. So dear friend, in philosophical world, what people are calling as hope, in our intellectual world, in the educational world, we call it as imagination. Just knock your brain. That imagination will take you anywhere you want to go. You want to go for a problem? Here we go. If you want to go for a solution, here you go. Just think about anything that this teaching, this art of teaching, this education, this is not a science. This is an art. Because with science protocol, you cannot live your life. After yes and no system and imagination, you have to open your creativity, because you have so much gift given by divinity. If you believe God, it is divinity. If you don't believe God, then it is your gene pool. Believe one thing, either one, choice yours. Okay, I will not compel you to believe God or this or that aesthetic. No, you believe whatever you want to believe, but you have that quality. Then you give attention to all the clues with you. So when I'm saying about all the clues, at the end of the session, I will show you a video for 1 minute. You will then understand what the importance of the clue is. Then the last thing is think. And the best and important thing is to listen. Sometimes we don't listen. When our parents say something, we don't listen. When our teacher says something, we don't listen. When WHO says something, we don't listen. When Somebody says something, we don't listen. Then we shout, hey, nobody told us anything. So that is the real world. Now let's come to our virtual world. Then I will give you some examples of Dr. Devon, what he told about the lateral thinking. First, you have to understand how your mind works. Do you want to always go to the school? Yes. Why? No, on the way of the school, I'm eating chocolates. And in the school, oh, I'm getting cans from my teachers. Huh? So, oh, I meet my friends. I greet my friends. I do this, I do that. But the last section, you will say, why you are going to school? The lessons are boring, the teachers are boring. 90% of the student will say the same word because they go school for fun. But few students, they go for education. So now that's how our mind works. It always trickles us way. It always plays a trick with us. Now, to overcome the situation of pandemic, what we're doing now, we have to overcome all the problems by using techniques. What techniques? Yes, we have artificial intelligence, we have virtual sessions, we have Androids, we have so many things. Now, 20 years back, a student used to call a teacher, sir, I didn't get this problem, can you tell me? Then the teacher used to say, hey, tomorrow in the class I can tell you because I am busy in something else. But now, both teacher and student are busy in Wikipedia and Google and YouTube. They find their answers. They don't trouble each other more. So just imagine in 20 years if this thing happened, after 20 years, being we are teachers, what would be our role? We would be not be a teacher because that time artificial intelligence will come, robots will come. The other day I was just traveling, find a channel in Netflix. My wife says to me, hey, why don't you say Alexa? I told, who is Alexa? No, in the remote there is a device, Alexa, you can say Alexa, Alexa cannot find. Then I asked, Alexa, can you find Upendra Bhanja? Oh my goodness, to my wonder, it showed me 10 different songs of Upendra Bhanja, Malli Mala Samangu Devi, Nakarare Ramana. My goodness, that's what Alexa is. So do you think the students will need us more after 20 years or 30 years? Don't deprive of that. Nobody can take your place because the teacher is always unique. You will become their mentor. Maybe you can't be a teacher, but you will be their mentor because they need to be guided. So the next points I will just highlight because this is a great discussion. It will take days and months to discuss. So let me make it precise. So the way the mind works, we have to control that. We have to apply new techniques, and we have to give generation of alternatives. It is no more classrooms fitting. When you are coming to virtual, you have to give a generation of alternatives, challenging assumptions. You have to feed the innovation ideas and suspend your judgments. Don't judge students now, because when you are going to judge students, they will start revolting. Okay, you must have observed this in your school career, your entire career. If you are telling good things also as a student, but in a higher pitch, then the next day you are the enemy of the state, right? That's what you are facing. Now, brainstorming and analogy are all those factors you have to go. So what will happen in the next phase of the virtual classes or education? So Gilbert here told a very nice thing, that the teaching is an art, it is not a science. It is necessary to distinguish subjects from methods. So the teaching is not a chemical reaction or a scientific process, but it is like painting a picture or a piece of music. So you have to know your student, you have to understand your students, but you will say, so how I will know my students? Yes, being a teacher, you have to prepare. What you have to prepare? You have to admit, you have to understand that teaching constantly changes. You can't go through the same process again and again and again from last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Someday you need to change. That's what Darwin told you. A biology teacher understands what Darwin told, because it's the evolution. Everything changes, but evolution never. So you have to see what type of teaching you need to give to the students, because you have to make him understand what is practiced in daily life. The teaching should go in that flow. And what should be the quality of a good teacher? First, you should know the subject. Second, you should know the pupil. Third, you should know the education first. Because a person who knows and he knows that he knows is a wise person. A person who knows not and he knows not that he knows not is a fool. It is being said. I'm not saying. It is being said. So the thing is, what is the ability of a good teacher? First, ability of the good teacher is memory, willpower, and kindness. And the teaching methods should go through like preparation, planning, renewal of material. So the three methods of teaching is lecturing, tutoring, and recitation. All things should fall in proper place. So these are Gilbert Yeats' opinion, not mine. Just I have expressed my feeling. What I read, what I understood, just I'm explaining. And Sukanti, please let me know how much time I have, so accordingly I can go.
Bhai, you can continue for 5 minutes more, and
Yeah,
you
sure.
can end there. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So the thing is, Alexander Manu, he's a very wonderful person. His books are very wonderful. He gave an example that putting a giraffe in refrigerator, it was told, it was asked to hundreds of seniors, hey, can you put a giraffe in the refrigerator? What are the solutions? Oh my goodness, 90% of people told, cut the giraffe into fish pieces and put in the refrigerator. Why you are going to kill a giraffe just to put in the refrigerator? No need to kill a giraffe. It is simple. Just think the giraffe may be a small kid, small one, and the fridge may be a big one. Why don't you think like that? But it is our human tendency. We are famous for breaking and making things very simple. So that's how things should not go. So the virtual classes of the future education will change a lot of things, my dear people. Lots of things. What? Don't get panic. Number one, don't get panic. Don't think COVID is the last pandemic of your life. Never. Don't think. You think this is the beginning. So now you get ready for whatever adverse condition will come. How amoeba is staying immortal? Because whenever any adverse condition comes, it wraps up itself in a cyst. We call it as a cyst, a covering. So it can tolerate 130 degrees centigrade, minus 72 degrees centigrade. You don't care. Once the adverse condition goes over, it comes out. That's how it survives. So you know the cyst, you know the rules, follow it and go over it. So what will change in the future of the education, in the virtual of education? Is the virtuality is going to stay? So I have 90% yes and 10% no. Again, this school curriculum, university will come back, but it needs some time. So get ready that what you are facing in your future. Because you see, just now, before I coming to this, I was watching a YouTube video by Sir Ken Robinson. He told that this engagement is 63%. When we are teaching a classroom, 63% of our students are not listening what we are saying because they are in their own world. We are teaching the 37% of the kid. So those 37% of kids are holding the key for success. So now what changes we are facing? Within 3 minutes I will close. Those changes should be diverse time and place. So as Anil sir told, Nandini need not to go to Charampa, Prasanta need not to go to Charampa, or Charampa need not to come to Toronto. So diverse time and place. So we are fixing anywhere, any corner of the world. If you have internet and Android, get ready for the virtual class. Number 2, personalized learning. Now you can choose how many students you can take, or student can choose what type of teacher he can choose. So this would be a future world. Then free choice. So there is no restriction. The syllabus will be changed. The syllabus has to be adapted, and every education will be project based. There would be no certification. Nobody gives you certificate. They will get one on avatar. One person told they will what avatar? When you complete some certification, it will be updated in your resume. Whomsoever will saw your resume, they will pick you up. So they will not ask you, do you have a higher secondary education certificate from Odisha? They will say, oh, it is written in Odia. No, I need in English. No, those problems would be not there in the future. Then field experience. On the virtuality, they will ask you several field experience, data interpretations. Exam will change completely. Exam system will change completely. The student will take the ownership, and we all teachers will become mentors. Those things will happen. So what is the role of the technology of the classroom? Because technology is going to cover the classroom. Not only students, not only old persons, but we need to also learn so many techniques. I don't know ABCD of computer and everything before 2005 or like that, but my students taught me, sir, open a Facebook account, we will contact with you. Now somebody told, why don't you have a WhatsApp? So Dhira Bhai also teaching me so many things in the technology. So get ready. So don't say we are old, we can't learn. So those who are thinking you are old, no, either lead the way or follow the way or get out of the way. There is no third position for you, sir. You have to say, no, I can do it. Because you have to own it. Because the world is facing a challenge, you have to give a solution. So Roy Morrison told, with the pace of change accelerating in the 21st century, a key requirement thrives on lifelong learning and ability to acquire new skills. I have seen many doctors in Berhampur. Whenever I used to go their home, they used to read books. Sir, why are you reading? Already you're a doctor. No, every day medicine changes. So we need to read. So we have to have that acquisition. So let's learn technology. Let's adapt technology. Don't say, oh, this modern technology, I don't know. No, don't be negative, sir. Move 1,000 steps ahead, not a single step back. But before going, as I promised, I will show you a video that what you need. You have to face a challenge. You have to connect all the dots around you. If you want to get success, then this is the video for 1 minute. Then I will
Bhai, yes,
again.
continue.
Okay. Screen dekha jauchi?
Yes, yes, yes. It is showing and
apne screen re dekhantu gote rubber box अछि se bhitor gote peanuts अछि चिना बादाम ताइर गोटे ग्लास ट्यूब लागिछि केते जण स्टूडेंट को डाकी कहला गला से पीनट्स ता तमे बाहर करो से माने कोन करूचंती देखो एटा होछि हमरो रियल एजुकेशन
okay, bhai. What shall we do? Yes.
नहीं नहीं देखो
Screen. But it is not visible.
No,
Prasant, you have to present it.
You have to present the screen. Yeah, you have to present the screen. Yes.
sorry about that.
Now
So
for
you
all
have
the
to share the screen.
So I'm clicking the share button, I think. Okay, let me share it again. Sorry about that. Okay, present now. So a window. No, it's not allowing me to share. Just a minute. Final try or else I'll leave. Sorry about that.
this is some of the problems of this Google Suite account.
It's okay.
It is not allowing to present. Yeah, screen sharing was allowed. Paper presentation was allowed last time.
Okay, I'm getting now. Now it will get shared.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you are seeing the screen?
Yes, yes, bhai. Now it is
Okay.
coming. Yes.
So this experiment was a best experiment to know the knowledge, what imagination and thinking capability we have and what we are doing.
Now this is for all the students. You watch.
Yes.
It is muted. Unmute. Yeah. Unmute. Yes, why? Unmute. Unmute, bhai.
ଆଜ୍ଞା ମୁଁ ଏଇଟା ଦେଖିବାର ଉଦ୍ଦେଶ୍ୟ ହେଲା ଯେ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ 10-12 ଜଣ ଆସିକି ସେମାନେ ଆଇଡିଆ କରିପାରିଲେନି ଯେ ସେ ରୁମରେ ଗୋଟେ ପାଣି ବଟଲ ଅଛି ସେଥିରେ ପାଣି ପକେଇଦେଲେ ଚଣାଟା ଉପରକୁ ଉଠିଯିବ କିନ୍ତୁ ଗୋଟେ ଚିମ୍ପାଞ୍ଜି କରିପାରିଲା କଣ ଚିମ୍ପାଞ୍ଜି କଣ ଯାଇ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟିରେ ପାଠ ପଢିଥିଲା ଚିମ୍ପାଞ୍ଜି କଣ କି ପାଠ ପଢିଲା ନ ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଆମର ବେକରେ ପଡିଲେ ବଜେଇ ଶିଖନ୍ତି ଇନ ଓଡିଆ we say when something will come to us then you will find a solution so that was all about today there are many things to say but I will not stop means not continue from here so I will invite our next guest but thank you everyone for joining this thing and I'm grateful to Charampa Mahavidyalaya to make TNO a collaborator and we are happy to do that again so you are doing all of the good Sukanti and now here I will wait because I'm not going from here though the night is going ahead I'm waiting for our sir Nandini madam and
Debmalya sir.
Debmalya sir, yes, I am Devabrata. So Debmalya sir and Nandini madam. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.
So with gratitude, I must express that it is already late night for Prasanta Bhunya bhai, but he has taken much strain to be with us and he has presented with such brilliance and he is through examples and through stories he has made home his points he tried to make home and it is quite understood by all of us how simple it is to face the challenges because we have to adapt to our surroundings and situations no matter whatever will come our way so this is quite inspiring for all of us who are listening here and the video will be uploaded and then everyone can watch this and get inspired by his speech. Thank you, Bhai, for being with us and inspiring us with such an insightful speech. Next, we go for Nandini ji, and I would request Dr. Nandini to start her presentation, and let's enjoy and be inspired by that. Okay, dear Nandini.
Thank you, Dr. Sukanti. Am I audible to all of you?
Yeah, very much audible.
Yeah, so good morning. In fact, good evening to Bhai also. Namaskar, everyone. I would thank your college, your university, Charampa Mahavidyalaya Bhadrak and TNA Toronto for having given me this opportunity to share my views on this very important subject, national education policy, and the importance of online education and distance education. As a practitioner of distance education since last 13 years and before that as a teacher in a face-to-face mode university, I would try to combine my experiences in both the modes and I will try to share my experiences as a teacher of English literature and also as an administrator past 20 years. But before that, I must put in record that I express my gratitude to Dr. Sukanti for having given me this opportunity and respected Prasanta Kumar Bhunya and the principal of the college and Dr. Professor Mohapatra, head of the department, and dear Dr. Debmalya, and all the teachers of the college and the university, dear participants, and very dear students. I will try to be brief as well as I will give you a lot of research points and my experiences with NEP. So I have taken a few points from dear Prasanta Bhunya Bhai today. I will be starting with that. Bhai, you spoke really well. I must appreciate that. And I have taken 3 points from you from where I will actually start. You told that NEP is very futuristic. National Education Policy document. It's extremely futuristic. And I agree to that. It talks about the future of education in India. And if it is implemented practically with teamwork by the whole country, then it's going to really change. And overall, the education system. I will also talk about that. And then you gave an interesting story that NEP doesn't kill the giraffe. Yeah, true. It doesn't kill the giraffe. It creates a bigger refrigerator, isn't it? So that story part I liked, that national education policy is creating a bigger refrigerator for all of us where we can fit in. And the third point, which I have taken from you, because personally I believe in that, don't say no to technology. I'm a poet. I'm a creative writer. I'm a practicing poet, writing poetry, creative writing and stories since last so many years. And I'm quite an emotional person when it comes to me, Nandini, as an individual. But when it comes to teaching, pedagogy, research, I go for technology. I say yes to technology. And in today's world, if any teacher or any student says that I am not technology savvy, I am far away from technology, then it's really going to be a big problem for him or her. We have to say yes to technology. So these three important points I have taken from Bhai, and then I will proceed with that. Coming to my experience as a teacher, I know why Dr. Sukanti invited me here, not just as a poet or a creative writer, but as a practicing teacher of distance education and the virtual mode of learning. She has invited me here. The chief guest Anil sir said that something that cannot be, if we cannot avoid something, we have to endure that. Maybe in the month of March, February and March, when the lockdown started, people started enduring with the situation. Many people started enduring the situation, not going to the universities and colleges, not meeting friends face to face and directly. But by the month of April and May, I had almost experienced that people had started enjoying that. Me, for one, I have been enjoying this virtual mode of learning. Since 1st of April, we have started going to the university every day. From March to August, we were working from home. Rest other since September we are going to the university, but I do not find much of difference, except that we are sitting in our offices now and meeting very few people, because our online classes are continuing. And teaching in IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University, I am proud to be a part of this world's largest university, where a couple of years back we had 8.85 million students, and now the numbers have varied a little. So we are world's largest university, and the maximum number of academic programs are offered from IGNOU. You take a name and that program is with us. Starting from traditional BA, MA, MPhil and PhD programs to different foreign language programs. I am the director of that School of Foreign Languages, foreign language programs to skill enhancement programs, vocational education programs, and science and technology, medical science, engineering programs, and a lot of online programs through our Swayam and Swayam Prabha channels. We have all sorts of programs in the university. So when everyone was struggling how to get along with technology and how to take this massive shift from the face-to-face classroom to the virtual mode, we did not actually suffer because we have been trained that way. So recently I went to some university to take the interviews of their teachers, and the teachers were discussing about the challenges they were facing, and they told me that now the world is going IGNOU. So that was such a proud moment for me. The world is going IGNOU now. We have the world's largest studio, EMPC, Electronic Media Production Center, and we have very big studios. And then we have Gyan Darshan channels, we have Gyan Bani channels. So, you know, when one joins in our university to as a teacher or as an academician, first 6 months will continue in all sorts of training. And national education policy gives emphasis to train the trainers. Train the trainers is so important. Somebody becomes a teacher, and then he or she should not feel that my education, my training stops here. Like Prasanta Bhunya rightly pointed out, that we have to continue as a lifelong learner. So I'm a lifelong learner. Every day I train myself. So I try to learn new technology, new techniques, and then how to disseminate the knowledge, the traditional knowledge system that I have inherited from my country, from my culture, how to disseminate that worldwide, sharing of my knowledge worldwide, how to use technology. That is what is the emphasis of National Education Policy, NEP, and we are the practitioners of that. There was a time when we used to say knowledge is power. Now we are going through a period when knowledge is power is passé. Now the utilization of knowledge is power. How we utilize our knowledge, how we disseminate, we share our knowledge and experience is power now. So NEP also emphasizes that. When the National Education Policy document 2020 it was released by the Education Ministry, it has actually accentuated on the mounting need of online education in India during the pandemic, the global crisis. And it has become imperative that we should be ready with some alternative means of education. So NEP has created a bigger refrigerator and it has created an alternative mode of education. Education which was given in the classroom to the students face to face, we have created an alternative mode through use of technology. Now most of us are using, apart from our Gyan Darshan and Gyanwadi channels that we use every single day, to take our PhD Viva, to take our MPhil Viva, for the selection of the students for the PhD programs, we are using Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx, and so many platforms. And just ask yourself, last year, were you actually so tech savvy? No, we were not so tech savvy. Definitely we were teaching, I was teaching in the Gyan Darshan and the Gyanwani channels, but creating a Zoom link, creating a Google Meet link, sending it to the students and the participants, creating a Google Classroom, it has become a matter of seconds. It has become a matter of minutes. We just put it in the Google Classroom and all the students join immediately. I find my students eagerly waiting at the other side of the screen, smiling at me and talking to me. And I do not really miss things in the classroom too much. Yeah, I definitely miss that human touch, the flesh and blood human touch we definitely miss. But then technology has enabled us to minimize that gap, to see each other. Now I can see all of you. I can see Prasanta Bhoya Bhai, I can see Sukanti, I can see Debmalya and all of you, the principal sir, HOD madam, all of you, and Anil sir. So isn't it a virtual world? Isn't it a beautiful world out there that we are able to see each other? And we do not have really to travel by spending a fortune of national property and traveling. Imagine if Sukanti had invited Prasanta Bhoya Bhai and me to her college, a fortune would have been spent. And now we could also save that. So technology is actually helping us to save resources. I would have spoken only this much in your college, Dr. Sukanti, what I'm speaking here, and you're able to see me, but then we have saved national resources, national property, which can be utilized for the preservation of culture and for the preservation of languages and for so many other upliftment of the marginalized. We can use that material. But then when I said the plus points, the positive points of technology, I should also go to the flip side. The side that is actually creating a challenge, isn't it? Challenges are plenty. Brainstorm has not been outdated. In my virtual classrooms, the students do not let me go. When I am taking 1 hour class, they do not let me go for 2 hours. So the brainstorming part has not outdated, but it has become more challenging. And more than 30% of the country's population is not so much tech savvy. So that is a big challenge. And not everyone can actually afford a computer or a laptop. Rural-based India, they cannot afford a laptop. So the policy planners have to facilitate that. They should also consider doing that while they implement the national education policy seriously. Even many teachers are not familiar with the new format of education, and they are not trained online teachers, unlike as IGNOU teachers. And most of the distance education state university teachers are also, I believe, very tech savvy. But when it comes to conventional medium, I was just listening to my son's classroom teachings and online classes. I do that almost every day in the morning when he is attending his online classes. I sit in a corner and watch and try to listen how they are going about it. And I see that some of the teachers are amazing researchers, very good teachers. But not every online, real-time classroom teacher is a great online teacher. They do not know sometimes how to put their camera. Sometimes they do not know how to share screens. and sometimes they face it a big challenge to join in, to log out, and to attend the queries of each student. Students' queries would be going on, and sometimes teachers are not attentive to that. They do not see where the queries are going on. So, these challenges are very much there, and internet connectivity may not be effective everywhere. And sometimes I see that our students also take online education for granted. They will just log in, join the classroom, and then they will be roaming all over the house. They would be in the kitchen, they would be somewhere else. So that also has its implications. Then how to check that? Teachers have to be engaging. Teachers cannot be like it's a one-way medium. I prepared something, I prepared a PowerPoint, I went on sharing my PowerPoint, my screen, and then let the students go wherever they like. So this cannot be, this should not be done when we are talking about online education. And then in the next part of my lecture, I will come to the role of distance, digital and online teaching learning in NEP. And before that, I am reminded about President Kovindji, Ramnath Kovindji. He spoke about the new educational policy that it will transform into India into a knowledge superpower. True, very true, sir. We will transform India into a knowledge superpower. And he stated that becoming a knowledge superpower will help the immense talent of the students of the country. So NEP is more student oriented than teacher oriented. We used to read about those things in the past, and today we are actually given a chance to be the facilitators of the students of the country, to be recognized globally. He said that in Jamia Millia Islamia's convocation, and I was virtually attending that, and I so liked that, so supported that. And as an implication of that, the new education policy has made numerous welcome endorsements. And if they're executed in the right manner, this will bring about revolution in education. And the obligatory emphasis is on open distance learning today and technology-based learning. So what we are actually missing is in IGNOU kind of a university, we used to take our MPhil and PhD coursework sessions on the face-to-face mode, and our undergrad and master's degree programs on the virtual mode through our Gyan Darshan and Gyan Bani channels on the TV programs. So any day, morning 5 to 7, you switch on your TV channels, you will see us. Mostly you'll see me. And in the evenings also you'll see me. So we have been continuing with that. And the face-to-face mode classes that we were taking with our MPhil and PhD students, now we have converted those to Zoom and Google Meet classes. So we are actually missing nothing. And the most important issue that we were already dealing was our SLM. SLM is self-learning material, self-instructional material that we have been preparing. And the self-learning material that we have been preparing and disseminating, distributing among the students and the scholars, we have been continuing to do that. In the January session, January 2021 session, 6 of my courses are going on print, and the printing process is on. So the teachers are becoming multitasking, preparing the study material, writing the material, printing the material, and then taking classes through the studios and also through the Zoom and Google Meet and other such platforms. And another important point of concern under this National Education Policy document, the 67 pages document that I read, another point of concern is what I felt was as of now, an online degree doesn't carry much of weightage in India or some other countries when it comes to placements and employments. So our policy planners also have to consider that. If online degrees are introduced, so a student doing an MA in English from Jamia IGNOU Delhi University or IGNOU on the real-time mode, and also a student doing an MA in English through the Swayam or Swayam Prabha channel on the online mode, if equal weightage is given to both the degrees, is a policy decision which the government of India should consider, and in fact they are considering. Recently we had meetings with all the directors of the divisions and schools, and I was a part of that meeting where we emphasized on that, and they have assured and they have issued some policy documents with regard to that, where the online degrees are given equal weightage. And now the students are submitting even their PhD thesis online. Earlier, they used to send a very big thesis, 6 copies of the printouts, and a very big thesis used to come to our tables. Now they have started sending those online. But also, it depends on the teacher. Like, it has created a bigger refrigerator. It depends on the teacher. Me as a teacher, if I want to touch and feel a PhD thesis, maybe the smell of it, I usually smell my books. So if I like to do that, then I have to give the option that I want the PhD thesis as a hard copy. And if I am very tech savvy, I like to read a lot of screen, my screen time is more and my eyes support that, then probably I can opt for an online thesis. So that option is also given. So what I would suggest to the teachers sitting out there who have been dealing with the students is, do not consider that your online classes are either a video imitation of a normal classroom, or it is just an instinctive PowerPoint performance with voiceovers. Many people do that. Unfortunately, I see that amazing, wonderful scholars are also doing that. They have done such great research, but what they're doing, they just put a PowerPoint and the PowerPoint is scrolling through and they would be rereading the PowerPoint, the points given on the PPT. Students find that very boring. They do not feel engaged with those kind of PowerPoint presentations. So even I see what my son does, he would be only taking screenshots of the PowerPoints rather than listening to them. I asked him, Babu, why are you doing this? There is a PowerPoint and you are taking a screenshot on your mobile. He says, no, the teacher is not speaking anything else rather than the PPT. So I can actually jot down these points from my mobile on my notebook and then I'll prepare for my examination. Probably we should avoid that. If you ask me as a teacher what I do, I mostly avoid PowerPoints. I don't know if it is good or bad, but I avoid PowerPoints. It may be bad. Maybe bad, but what I do is I prepare research points. Suppose today I am teaching Aristotle. I will prepare 30 research points and I would share it among my students before the class. So that, they will just go through the points and then they will come to me. And then if it is a 1 hour classroom, I speak for 30 minutes. I make them speak for 30 minutes. I tell them that, yeah, you have read my point. You tell me what you understood out of that. And then we have a brainstorming. So if our virtual classrooms are more of brainstorming sessions, definitely by providing adequate material to the students. IGNOU is famous for providing material. You ask any IAS, IFS, IPS candidate, you ask NET candidates, CAT candidates, JRF candidates, everyone is reading IGNOU material. Dr. Debmalya knows about it. Everyone knows about it, that people are, the teachers of the conventional universities, they will carry our material to their classroom. Sometimes they wrap it on a brown paper so that IGNOU brand is not visible. So they carry their material and they go to the classrooms. So provide ample of material to the students. So NEP asks us teachers, actually NEP has 90% of the expectations from me as a teacher and only 10% of the expectations from the students, because now the poor students are at the receiving end. We have to empower them, give them brain-based learning. What Bhai said just now, that lifelong learning, I say that brain-based learning. We should teach in such a way, giving them material first, empowering them first, and then having a discussion, interaction with them, and then giving them communicative English, functional English, and then body language and group discussion kind of courses, where the students are in a position to actually express themselves. We have to find out the correct pedagogy behind online and distance learning platforms. So there are a few points that I found from the 67 pages document of the NEP. I have taken a few points. YouTube-based proof of the proposition with appropriate comments. Teachers are creating a lot of YouTubes. Today, most of the teachers have YouTube channels. So dear teachers, you are most welcome to create your YouTube channels, but try to make those interactive. And then emphasis on the tangible and the intangible cultural heritage is one thing that I truly loved. As a folklorist, Dr. Sukanti introduced me as a poet and a creative writer and whatnot. Very kind of her to introduce me with such high-sounding language. But then I love to call myself a poet and folklorist. So I have been teaching folklore studies, folk literature and Indian culture in IGNOU since many years. When I joined IGNOU in 2006 as a reader in English, then I did a need assessment survey. And I found that we had courses on American literature, British literature and everything, but we did not have any academic program on folklore. So I proposed a diploma program, PG diploma in folklore and culture studies. And I proposed again an MA in folklore studies. And definitely it was a Herculean task because folklore it was one of the part of our marginal studies, subaltern studies. And there were many challenges for me. Why folklore? It's oral literature, and folklore is performative art. And folklore is an interdisciplinary subject. Why should it come to the core English discipline? Those challenges were thrown at me, and I had to make presentation before the ministry and before the university authorities more than 5 times to convince that folklore is one of the most important subjects and it should be taught to our students. I did that in 2007. And then by 2018 and 19, all my folklore programs had become very popular. Many countries have invited me to design their folklore programs. And if you Google the India's folklorist, you will definitely see my name. And today, when I saw the policy document of NEP, National Education Policy, it says that we should emphasize on multiculturalism and the tangible and the intangible cultures. I felt very, very proud. I felt that, well, I have contributed in a small little way, in my squirrel way, to the preservation of those cultures. So NEP emphasizes on that. While you teachers, you teach international politics, international affairs, and also British literature, American literature, and all sorts of global studies, please try to emphasize on our cultural heritage, Indian culture, Indian folklore. So those things are also emphasized by NEP. And if you Google MEG 16, MA English 16, Indian folk literature, it has been designed by me and it is in our eGyan course and IGNOU mobile app. I'll come to that. And also, online education has to be conversational and two-way. I already said that. And video accountability is definitely there. It's a part of your teamwork. Both the teacher and the taught should be there. Children should not be allowed to log in and then go out and come back once the classes are over just to give their attendance. It should be creative, engaging and innovative. And give short and simple assignments to the students. Don't give very, very long answers because they will anyway copy. They will only plagiarize. So give short and simple brain-based assignments and focus on the new trends of science and technology if you are a teacher of technology. The other day, a very interesting thing happened. Someone who had done only an online program for medicine, and then that person became a doctor, and a patient says that I will not take injections from him because he must not have given injections online. So, these real-time trainings are very, very important. And fortunately, we at IGNOU, and there are also so many universities who have such dual mode programs where online teaching and training is given for knowledge acquiring, and then the training is given, real-time training is given for 6 months, 1 year, to book publishing programs, to engineering programs, to medical programs. And thus they are actually made to go to the hospitals. We have tie-ups with Safdarjung Hospital, AIMS, and such important hospitals where our medical students are actually trained. So they are not giving injections online. And our book publishing students are not doing book publishing only online. We send them to the publishing houses for a 1-month program. And the folklore program students, this program, PG Diploma in Folklore and Culture Studies and MA in Folklore, these programs, I have students from National School of Drama, kind of huge institutions, the professors who are 20, 30 years older than me, they are my students. So when I teach them, I actually learn. So teaching is actually a learning process. Like Prasanta Bhunya Bhai said, that we are lifelong learners. So I am a lifelong learner. The other day, when one of my students, who is a professor of National School of Drama, he talked about Nagamandala and Hayavardhan in such a way that I actually learned from him. So we have to leave our ego. Teaching is an ego battering exercise. Teaching is one of the most noblest professions that we have taken. So you are into this noble profession, leave your ego at your doorstep and enter the classroom. and enter your virtual classroom by leaving the ego. Learn from the students. You know, sometimes when I have any problem with technology, I call one of my students, beta aake isko kar do. And then when he or she does that, I overwhelmingly appreciate my students. I say, "Arey, main to tumse sikhi, mujhe to kuch nahi aata tha." So when I said that, they feel so connected. No, ma'am, aapko sab kuch aata tha. No, mujhe to kuch nahi aata tha. So, you know, this is how we have to connect with our students. I mother my students. They are senior or junior or whatever. I treat them like my children. And here is Dr. Debmalya. I treat him like my child. He will tell you. So we have digital infrastructure and we have virtual laboratories, but we should also teach our students how to do that. Technology-based solutions are very much there. Technology is a solution to our biggest problems. And now next point I would come is emphasis on languages. This 67 pages policy document of NEP I went through, you know, it has used the language 200 times. 200 times. So imagine what much of importance has been given by the government of India to language learning and language preservation. Before I get into that, I would share my experience with you as a folklorist. When I designed my folklore programs, I have one chapter in MEG 16, language death. Initially in the world, there were 6 lakh languages and today there are only 6,000. So what happened to the rest of the languages? They died a natural death because of the lack of use of those languages. And when I did this survey of language death, I went to so many villages. I traveled across the globe to take interviews with the last speakers of important languages, and many of the last speakers of the languages, they were not willing to agree, except that they have endangered languages with them. So you have to convince them. You have to be one with them and tell them that yours is an endangered language because less than 500 number of people are speaking that language. And then how to preserve that language? My answer is NEP. My answer is technology. So take interviews with them, the last speakers, and preserve those interviews in the www, World Wide Web. Create an archive where you preserve the dying languages. If you document it, if you write it down, after a few years, termites might eat up your material. So preserve those dying languages, their music, their culture, their cuisine, their medicines, Ayurveda, and then traditional cooking systems. Cuisine, Prasanta Bhuya Bhai is such a great cook sitting there. So the kind of cooking he does, and he posts those on Facebook, mouth-watering dishes. And we are preserving those. Bhai is actually preserving the indigenous dishes in the World Wide Web. In a very simple way, he is doing it. So when I did that language death program, I took interviews with hundreds of last speakers of dying languages. We created CD-ROMs. Then we wrote down that as material and included those as a part of our study material in IGNOU, and the copyright lies with IGNOU now. I was the researcher, I was the facilitator of those dying language programs, and then the copyright is with IGNOU, and the students are hugely benefited out of that. I get hundreds of emails and phone calls on those dying languages, and the dying language group, they always show their gratefulness to me, and I'm sure that many people are doing much better work than that, greater work than that. But if they are little bit tech savvy, the folklorists should be little bit tech savvy to preserve those in the World Wide Web. Now, having said that, I come back to an NEP, National Education Policy document. The NEP has given emphasis on mother tongue, family language, local language, state language, national language, the 5 steps of languages. NEP document says that, 17% of our schools are English medium schools, pure English medium schools in India. 64% are Hindi medium schools, and 83% of our Hindi plus vernacular, which I call bhasha. I don't use regional or vernacular. I say bhasha. So 84% of our educational institutions are Hindi plus vernacular medium. And NEP doesn't impose anything about the medium of instruction. Again, creates a bigger refrigerator. NEP doesn't impose anything on any one of us about the medium of education. It only gives more options. It facilitates. Article 343 of Indian Constitution, please go through that. It says that Hindi is our official language. But the clause 2 says that anyway, English will continue to be the official language along with Hindi. Here I am reminded about the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, where he has written somewhere in one of his books that India cannot do without English. He did not like the Britishers' way of imposing themselves in the power structure and the power game, but he had nothing against English language. In fact, he had nothing against any language. So as a language teacher, I have nothing against any language. I only think language empowers me. The more languages I learn, the more empowered I am. And having said that, I will again come back to NEP. It says that English will continue to be the official language, and education of the country is planned in the most flexible way by NEP as ABC. Students, please take down this point, ABC. A is 10 Hindi-speaking countries, states will correspond everything in Hindi while making the content available in the constitutionally approved languages. A says that 10 states, that includes Delhi also, most UP, Bihar and MP and Delhi and all these states, 10 states will continue to everything in Hindi while making the content available in the vernacular and the local languages. A. And B says Punjab, Maharashtra and Gujarat will correspond in Hindi while making the content available in local and English. And C about Odisha, it says East, Northeast and South Indian states of India, and Odisha, Bengal, we belong to that. East, Northeast and South India may correspond in English in the higher education while making the content available in Hindi and local languages. So don't you think that it's maximum flexible? So much of flexibility is given to us. NEP document has used the word language in the document 200 times, and language studies have become seriously endorsed, and we have every reason and the facility to check language depth. So when I say that, I have just taken down something yesterday from one of my colleagues about ISO, Swarag and Agnibhog. These are Russian words, and you see Swarag means Swarg in Hindi, that is in Russian, and in the Slavic language, Agnibhog, and then Bhrat, Bhrat in Russian language, Slavic language, Bhai, Bhrata in Sanskrit, and then Akhota, Akhota in means hunting in Slavic language, and Akhota is hunting in Sanskrit, and Akhet in Hindi and Sanskrit. So we have so many similarities in our world languages. So if you are a teacher of languages, why don't you make a comparative study? NEP will facilitate you. Huge research grants are coming towards the universities. Lot of technological support is coming to the universities. So make the maximum use of the time. I have made maximum use of last 8 months. Probably my creativity and my productivity has increased, multiplied last 8 months while working on technology. I have really learned quite a few new things. And then I was talking to one of my colleagues from Arabic language. He said that before 4,000 years, in the Semitics, Hebrew, Ashurite, Babylite, Canaanite, and Aramite, these were the languages. And today, those languages have not been preserved. In written, they were only oral languages. Now only Arabic language is there. So we have so many. You come to Odisha, look at Odia. So many languages are there in our own state, Odisha, and which are actually dying. And I did my bit, my squirrel contribution to that. This year I designed an academic program, MIL Odia, as a part of our CBCS. Bhai knows about it. Choice-based credit system. CBCS is a part of our BA Honors and BA General program. And we did not have any other ODIA teacher in IGNOU. Well, I'm a teacher of English. I'm not an ODIA teacher, but ODIA is my mother tongue. So I thought I can contribute to Odisha, my mother tongue, my motherland, through translation and course design. So my way of empowering Odisha is translation, research, teaching. I translated quite a few texts from Odisha and I put those as a part of our MA English. Our MA English has 10,500 students And all of them are reading Odia literature today in terms of translation. And then we did not have a BA Odia program. We had in our BA General, BAG, if you Google BAG IGNOU, you will see that we have Bhojpuri and we have Hindi and so many, Sanskrit, Urdu, so many languages, but we did not have Odia. In January 2021 session, I introduced MIL Odia in BAG. I faced quite a few challenges. Even some people challenged that Nandini is not a PhD in Odia, and I do not have any formal qualification in Odia. English has always been my thinking language and speaking language. But then I've read a lot of Odia literature. And I'm so inspired by Bhai Prasanta Bhai and so many of you that you all are doing such great work towards Odia literature. So I also contributed in a squirrel way by introducing MIL Odia in BAG, and it will be available in our study material in the January 2021 session. Now let me come back to our content design. We have e-Gyan Kosh. Dear students, please Google E small letter Gyan Kosh, G capital, GYANKOSH. E-Gyan Kosh. And also from your Google Play Store, you go to your mobile and you go to your Google Play Store, you download so many games. You download PUBG and all that. Please download IGNOU mobile app. IGNOU mobile app. And you will find our entire study material on your mobile. So during the pandemic, this was the development in IGNOU. We always believed in train the trainers. We have been taking great training every year. Every year we have to take training. Even I took some Hindi training also. I took a lot of technology training. And I think I'm very tech savvy. I can create a website. I can create a blog and I can create my material. I can design the cover pages of my own books. I do that. And then this IGNOU mobile app was designed by our innovation department, and the study material is there on the mobiles today. So this is also a contribution of the pandemic. During the pandemic, we were so hard pressed because we were not able to send our real-time hard copy of the study material to the students, and the students were actually desperate. You know, during this pandemic, my heart goes out to the students. Poor people from rural India, from different parts of the country, they are desperately trying to connect to the teachers. If they see my mobile number, sometimes they call me till 12 o'clock in the night, and I always receive my students' calls. So we created this IGNOU mobile app, and the material is available to them. So I have ready-made messages in my mobile, in the WhatsApp as well as SMS, that this is the IGNOU mobile app link, this is the e-Gyan course link, and I forward those links to the students and I ask them to call me between 6 to 8 any day. So 6 to 8 in the evening is my student call time. I come back from the university at 6. So during my tea time, I take whole lot of student calls. And this is also a contribution of the pandemic. And I am sure that after the pandemic, this period will go, this too will pass, but the memories will stay. I created hundreds and thousands of wonderful relationships with my students during this period. The students truly, truly love the teachers who are accessible, who are available to them. So dear teachers sitting in front of me, please make yourself available to the students. Please make yourselves accessible to the students, because this is the time when they need you the most. After that, I will come to NEP has given one more thing. You are always accessible by providing effective safeguards for the data protection. Data protection and plagiarism and research ethics and piracy policy. These are the things which NEP emphasizes once again. See, there was a time when in the classroom, people used to carry anybody's book, anybody's material, go and read it out, pretending to be it's my own. Now we cannot do that. You cannot carry my book and go to your classroom and read out something and pretend it to be your own, because your classroom is being recorded. So now you are always under public scrutiny. You are always under public scanner, under the scanner of the government. Like here, I am reminded about the theory of the panopticon. English teachers will know, Sukanti will know panopticon. This is a literary theory by Jeremy Bentham in the 18th century, when he said that, you know, what is a panopticon? The state is a panopticon. There it's a glass room, very small glass room. I am in the center, and then all around me, the state is watching me. Now everyone is watching me. I'm in a glass window, glass door room. The country is watching me. what I'm speaking. Now, what I'm saying here is also recorded and it will be available later on. So I cannot say something unethical and get away with that. So this research ethics has actually been introduced under courtesy pandemic. People have become more ethical, more careful in their research. My students, they have become so careful about research that if they quote even one word from somebody in their speech or in their writing, they have become very careful, and NEP has ensured that. So, dear teachers out there, please understand that research ethics has to be strictly followed under the NEP guidelines. And acknowledging the research and everything, and then the World Wide Web, www, you are in the panopticon, you are in the glass room. The state is watching you, the country is watching you. And then your focus should be more on the dematerialization and digitization of the educational content that you prepare. That is one thing. And then another important
point. Dr. Nandini, yeah. I am sorry to interrupt. Already you have taken nearly 1 hour time, and you have to wind up soon.
Yeah, I had 100 things to say, but I will wind up as ordered by my dear Sukanti.
sorry for that. Sorry for that.
I'll conclude. Anyone can get in touch with me. My email ID is karbinandini@gmail.com. Please get in touch with me for the discussion. So NEP also asks us to do cultural preservation and language strengthening. So do pilot studies. Before you design any program, do pilot studies on the digital education, use online teaching tools and methods effectively, use your digital infrastructure, train your trainers, train yourself, be a learner, make your courses and yourself available online, make yourself a digital storehouse, make yourself a creator of content, follow the standards of online learning, follow the standards of blended models of learning, blend your online and the face-to-face learning and create your material, and be a dedicated teacher, emphasize on your teaching learning method. Having said that, I would request all of you to understand the idea of the Honorable Government of India, the Prime Minister of India, what he means by saying self-reliant India. Online education makes you self-reliant, independent. Depend on yourself. Do not depend on anyone else. And then now I would like to share my session with Dr. Debmalya. He was a part of my content designing for the BA choice-based credit systems. So he has designed the material for my university. So when I was going to deliver this lecture for dear Dr. Sukanti and also with Bhai, I thought that I can share the session with Dr. Debmalya because he has the practical experience for designing material for me, Nandini, a hard taskmaster, an online educator, a poet, and a folklorist. So he has combined everything in his study material, and now he will share experiences with you. Thank you for your patient hearing. I know I spoke a lot. Thanks.
So, yeah, Dr. Nandini, you spoke a lot, but we are greatly benefited by your speech, no doubt. And you are an epitome of what a teacher should be. So, you have done your level best to promote not only English literature, but also Odia literature. That is a glory for us, a personal glory for us as Odia. And now I request Debmalya sir, he will be presenting. So welcome you, sir. And we will invite interactive sessions. So there are a lot of questions coming in chat, and we will discuss that after Biswas sir's presentation. Okay, sir, continue, please.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Good morning. Namaskar. Before I begin, I would like to thank respected Professor Nandini Sahu, ma'am, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share space with her in this webinar. And as she said, and I perfectly agree, that she mothers everybody who comes in touch with her, and she is truly supportive in every sense of the term. I would also like to thank Dr. Sukanti Mohapatra for inviting me to speak. I would like to thank the principal, the head of the institution, the college, as well as TNO Canada for this space. Now, Professor Sahu has beautifully and quite exhaustively deliberated on the aspects of ODL and distance learning with respect to the new national education policy. I am going to talk about my experience of creating content for English courses, as well as a bit of English teaching, and how all of it actualized in the digital and computerized medium. Now, before I share my own experience, I would like to emphasize that the issue we are discussing presently could not have been more real, as all of us wade through this pandemic and widespread disruption of institutional academic work. So in fact, as soon as I looked at the topic of the webinar, the first thing that came to my mind was this 1951 short story, The Fun They Had, by Isaac Asimov. This story looks at a brother and a sister as they come across a book in their attic. And funnily, this book is a relic in their period, a period where robots have replaced human teachers and digital lessons have replaced books. And they try to realize from the book how different learning was in the era to which the book belonged. My apologies for this dystopic shock on a fine Sunday morning. But the question that we have been mulling over for quite some time now is, how have innovations influenced the way we teach? And if I'm to address the point of view of the students, how have these influenced the way the students learn? And the point that we often overlook is, are we still having fun? If yes, then how do we make it better? And if no, then what do we do about it? In fact, these queries are intricately connected to the focus on experiential learning and activity-based learning, whereby we are earnestly trying to address a concern of online and distance education. And I quote from page 59, point 24.3 of the NEP, it will tend to become a screen-based education with limited focus on the social, affective, and psychomotor dimensions of learning. Now, in this pandemic situation, for distance learning too, with the lack of contact between a learner and his or her tutors in the assigned study centers, as well as the lack of contact amongst learners themselves belonging to the same study center, the concern that we are trying to mitigate is that of distance learning turning into just text-based education. There is another part to this. With affected printing services, as well as the dispatch of printed texts to study centers, it will be these digital files in the form of a document or in the form of a PDF that will first be available to the learners. Now, depending on the learner's context, let's say affected movement, frequency of visiting study centers, available bandwidth of internet infrastructure in the region, these small-sized digital downloads of study materials, document or PDF, may for a long time be their go-to source. So here we are looking at screen-based textual education. And for me, as a content writer, taking note of these issues, my first thought was, how do I make the best use of this text? I have written one block comprising of 4 units for the course Begla 138, titled Reading and Speaking Skills for the School of Humanities, IGNOU. And apart from that, I have also written 2 more units of a course titled Post-Colonial Literatures. It was indeed a very good learning curve for me, to say the least. Writing content for distance learning is very, very different. It's fundamentally different from writing a research paper or even a book chapter. Now, based on my realization, a research paper or a book chapter needs to be true to its topical focus. Distance learning content or self-learning content needs to be true to the target learners. Now, the topical focus of self-learning material needs to be shaped by the concerns of the target learners. We need to think very seriously about the number of learners who will be directly impacted by what they receive from this textual content. It's very obvious if we look at the statistics that there can be no comparison between the number of learners registered under a distance learning university and a conventional university. Even conventional universities are coming up with their own distance learning divisions, and the number of students opting for distance study is phenomenal. So as a content writer, I felt pushed. I felt pushed to place myself in the shoes of these very learners. And I had to start from the bottom. I placed myself in the shoes of a first generation learner opting for distance study. And within this group of learners too, I thought about those who could be attending minimal or no classes at the study centers due to some issue. It's a pandemic situation and there could be familial responsibilities too. There could be, the students could be enrolled in some work. So these learners would have negligible to no contact with the tutors in their study centers. Now, an obvious question over here is, why did I take so much into account? Well, I must admit that although I'm now pursuing my doctorate from JNU, I started my life with undergraduation at IGNOU. I've seen the reality of those coming or not coming to study centers. While the weekend classes would have barely 15 to 20 learners, the days of the term and examination would have several hundred pouring in. So I've been in the very shoes of learners pursuing distance study. So for me, as a content writer now, the acceptability factor of the content had to be from the very bottom of the pyramid. For me, the content had to be such that even those not being able to avail tutor assistance do not feel lost. So along with the twin criteria of wherever and whenever in the NEP, as a content writer, I was committed to a third criterion, however. So wherever, whenever, and however a learner chooses to learn, the text, the main text, the material that they receive, should not be a roadblock, considering the extreme circumstance of learning, relying only on the self-learning material, and then facing the term and examination. So while keeping the content robust, my focus was to have smooth transitions within the text, easily understandable explanations, and relatable examples or anecdotes. Let me talk in detail about these. Let me also be clear that all of these are for a singular purpose. What's that? To make the text speak to the reader. Even for those confined within their routines and studying on their own, the text, as much as possible, should engage them directly and minimize the feeling that comes with being a solo learner. To this effect, the content is in the form of a dialogic discourse. So right from the course introduction to the very end, where content writers suggest additional readings, the text is dialogic in character. Even for subheadings within a unit, I've tried to maintain this dialogical sense wherever feasible, so that learners feel more engaged. For instance, instead of the, I'm just taking into account one of the units, importance of communication skills. So instead of the first subhead of simply writing communication, I used what is communication. Instead of the subhead importance of communication skills, I used why are communication skills important? So there is a difference. Now, within the explanatory passages too, the text directly addresses the learners through the use of the second person in discussions, descriptions, categorizations. Furthermore, the content uses the inclusive first person we while arriving at an inference, while concluding sections, while starting new sections, as well as while summing up a unit. So now moving on to the issue of organization, similar to the page of contents where we get an idea about the chapters to be covered in a book. In case of self-learning material, at the very outset, we provide the structure of the very unit that the learner is going to study. This way, the learner gets an idea of the broad issues that are being tackled in the unit, as well as how the unit is going to progress. So after that, we come to the objectives part. Once we have given an idea of the structure, we move on to the objectives part, where the broad goals of the particular unit are laid out clearly. Now, this mentally prepares the learners before they take the plunge. And right after objectives, there is another very important section. It's titled Warm Up. Warm Up, where the learners are made to think about their own experiences or previously accumulated ideas. For instance, let me just bring up something which I have used in my own unit. For instance, in the warm-up section of the unit on formal conversation, I put learners to the task of thinking about two situations. Situation one, a conversation with your teacher about the unsatisfactory state of your assignment or your performance in the examination. And situation two, a conversation with your mother about a demand for a different dish, as you crib about what she has prepared for the day. We all crib at times. So thinking about these two very, very familiar situations is with the purpose of making them contemplate, making the learners contemplate the differences as I, as a content writer, approach to discuss about how formal and informal situations are different. Now, coming to the main text, as we start the main text, as I have realized, the explication has to take into account factors that are applicable in the Indian context. Now, what's the meaning of that? Well, let me elaborate on this point with an example. I have also written content for a course on language and linguistics for the School of Humanities, Netaji Subhash Open University. And in the unit on spoken English, while explaining issues of pronunciation, I wrote about how sound systems influence each other. And I cited the case of how the phonetic features of an individual's native language can influence the individual's pronunciation, while using a non-native language, And this results in a transfer of phonetic features from the native to the non-native language. For example, as a Bangla speaker, and my experience with Bangla speakers who use English, we often find that native Bangla speakers pronounce the English word very as bheri. Now, this is not a pejoration or an insult, but this is simply a phonetic phenomenon. They pronounce very as bheri instead of very. And thereby, we describe that these individuals are speaking with a Bengali accent. They're speaking English with a Bengali accent. And this is because the sound va in very, va is missing. And that is somehow mentally compensated with bha, which is present in the sound inventory of Bangla. Now, these sort of phonetic issues are there in all speakers of English who have an Assamese background, speakers of English who have an Adamese background, speakers of English who have a Marathi background. So, targeting the learners of West Bengal, my content, which will constitute the bulk of registrants at Netaji Subhash Open University, they will be the main recipients of this content. So my explanation is considering the sociophonetic factors applicable in the specific context of the state of Bengal. So that when speakers of Bangla read this and they connect the explanation of the issue of pronunciation with this very example, they can readily relate. So there are such issues, as I said, for English users in Tripura, Assam, etc. Every state has its own language background, and in turn it affects the way they pronounce English sounds. So this is where I want to talk about the need to break experiential uniformity. Experiential plurality is the way. And as a future possibility for a university of the scope and range of IGNOU, there can be specific units that explicate such issues, precisely citing the sort of variations found in the learner's own context. So this in turn will boost the need for content writers with specific understanding of regional linguistic and learning issues. It will increase the repository. It will increase the diversity of materials available in the repository. And it will benefit the learners who will try to understand these ideas, and they will be able to in a better way with the help of precise examples. So exemplification has to consider learners in their situated contexts as well as the immediate surrounding contexts. Now, moving on, I now want to share my experience of framing questions for the evaluation sections of the units. So based on my experience with the framing of questions, I believe there should be more questions wherever possible, which make the learners resort to their own experiences. In this way, there can be a correspondence between the lived experiences of the learner and the ideas that they are being taught. So the point is that learners have already experienced a great amount of life, and the ideas or the theories or the ideological frameworks that are being catered to them now have already, in a direct or indirect manner, impacted their actions or outcomes for the part of life they have already lived. So before thinking about possible future scenarios, it is prudent to connect their existing knowledge base with the content that they are studying. For instance, the non-verbal aspects of communication, eye contact. They have been following eye contact with their interlocutors since eternity. But when they read a specific unit on non-verbal aspects of communication, they get to know the jargons, they get to know the technical terms. And if such a section is followed by an exercise where they are made to recall their own experiences with non-verbal aspects of communication, then the outcome of the learning will be much better. So these are broadly my realizations and learnings from being a content writer for distance learning study materials. I will now request Professor Nandini Sahu to offer her comments on my observations. And thank you so much for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, these sessions, all the 3 sessions have been very useful, and you have put forth some practical learning experiences before the students and teachers. So, what methodology and how the teachers would be available for the students even in distant mode, we have learned from you, and all the 3 sessions have been very useful, insightful, and informative. They are quite helpful for us. Now, we would invite questions. There are some questions in the chat box. I'm going to read out the questions, and yes, there is a question to Nandini, Nandini ji. Could distance learning be a complete alternative for physical or classroom learning? This is asked by Sekawat Ali.
Yeah, I saw quite a few questions for me on the chat box. If you allow me, I can answer to all the questions, or I can also email them. Dr. Debmalya, as he discussed his practical experiences of writing for distance education material, I think he has already answered to this question, that in distance education, he actually makes the text speak. We try to reach out to the students in a conversational method. Writing material for online education and distance education is not a research paper. Research paper, you research questions, research pedagogy, discussions, and then maybe you have conclusions. But here we try to keep it interactive. We discuss the material, we make ourselves available to the students through the material. And now online education has given us an opportunity to also to interact with students. But someone has asked me a question that can it be a complete alternative to a classroom teaching? My answer would be no. It cannot be a complete alternative to it, but are we left with too many choices now? Since we don't have any choice now, the pandemic is here to stay for some time. And even after the pandemic, if online education has actually strengthened us so much, like now Dr. Sukanti and one of our colleagues, they were writing on the chat box that we are conducting so many webinars. Just remember, before this pandemic situation, were we conducting so many webinars? We were not. And now it has strengthened us, it has empowered us. So why not use this empowerment forever? And as far as replacement or substitute to your real-time classrooms, no, it will never be, because students need a peer group. They need to go to the universities, they need to meet their peer groups, their teachers. So, but till the pandemic is here, probably we have to make the maximum and the best use of the online teaching and learning scenario. I saw another question, very pertinent, important question by Dr. Sujata, I believe. She was asking me what are the tangible and the intangible cultures that we need to preserve through technology. The tangible cultures are like the physical, the materialistic cultures. For example, what example should I? Something that I'm
not audible. You're not audible.
Am I audible now?
Now you are audible. Yeah.
So the tangible cultures are, I'm giving a very simple example. That's something that I'm wearing here. See, this is a part of some state culture. I got it from some state. So this is the tangible culture of that state. So everything that is physical, materialistic, everything that you can touch and feel and see is a tangible part of the tangible cultural system. And the intangible culture, the cultural system is passing on this process, this method, this art of creating this kind of material. So the preservation part, the abstract part comes to the intangible culture. So through online education or through the information technology, we can preserve both. Mostly we can preserve the intangible cultural system, like preservation and the documentation of the dying languages. The endangered languages is a part of our intangible cultural system, like folk dance, folk music, the methods of folk cuisine, folk cooking, or folk medicine, or so many methods and systems like gharana, music gharana. So in a music gharana, from generation to generation, the music system goes on. So that is a part of our intangible culture. So intangible culture is an idea, an abstract, a knowledge system which has to be preserved, and tangible culture is the materialistic part of it. So online education and technology help us to preserve both of them. Any other question for me? There are so many, but please ask me the important ones. I don't know if I have time.
There is a question for Biswas sir.
Yes.
The regional phonetics issues more the standard English phonetic pronunciation. That means we have our mother tongue influence in our speech. So then how can it be addressed?
Well, it needs to be addressed through practice, of course. It is not something that will be addressed in a short span of time. And getting over the regional influence takes a lot of effort. And it is nothing that comes with a certain disadvantage, but in certain social groups, there is an in-group and an out-group capital that is connected to the accent that you have. And if an individual is aspiring to be mobile between certain groups to gain a certain group capital, only in such cases do efforts to perfect pronunciation actually materialize. Otherwise, for people, for academics, speaking with a small amount of regional influence does not actually come with a great deal of disadvantage.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
may I add to that? There are some read aloud software available, and in some of our study material, we are using those kind of software and using the CDs where the pronunciation and the accent of words have been mentioned. Like Dr. Debmalya said, that some mother tongue influence is very much there in almost all the states of India. So to check that, the students can actually use the read aloud software and practice more and more.
Thank you. This is quite useful. So many students
you
are
so
there
much, ma'am.
present in this present in this webinar, and I think they will note down this point, that read aloud software, and they can use this, and we teachers will promote this among our students. So our principal sir must be asking some questions. Sir, you ask your question. I think you always come with a question. You unmute and ask.
My question is to Bhunya sir, that what about the school and colleges of Canada? That in our college, the campus is now silent. Sir, we are doing only admission and readmission according to the instruction of the state government. Sir, whatever the condition of that place?
Okay. Thank you, sir, for asking this question for this concern. But here, every day at 2 o'clock, the I think Prime Minister and Ontario Governor, everybody, they come on the screen virtually, and they address people about everyday statistics, problem, lockdown, every detail. They're explaining people for 1 hour. And through that, they are channelizing, though they lock down all those non-essential organizations, but they never forced stop the schools. But they put some rules and regulation and protocol for the school. So while entering in the school, they are taking assessment of every student, temperature of every student, and the class size, which was 25 to 30 earlier, is holding now 7 to 8 students only with the teacher. Everyone is in the mask, and everybody's health checkup is taken in every 7 days. So all these protections are taken up for the schools and colleges. But the higher grade colleges like 12th grade and other things, they all are continuing through virtual classes and online only, sir. That's how the education system prevails. And I think every day I am doing 5-hour classes, online virtual classes for my students. And because the government given an option that nobody can be forced to go into the school, those students are not going into the school, they will come to the virtual sessions. So where we are taking the virtual sessions, and the classroom was taken by the teachers of the school. So this is the pandemic condition of this. And we are expecting the vaccine to be come by January 1st or 2nd week. Already government has paid money to Pfizer and Moderna. So I think we are hopeful about that, and everything will be all right, sir.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
So now it is being late for Prasant Bhai, I think. He is missing his sleep, night sleep. It is already very late for him, and he is so patiently attending this and with us, staying with us. Now, as far as I sum up, this has been a very successful webinar with all our 3 great learned resource persons who have enlightened our faculties and students who are present in this webinar, and they have given their personal mail ID. You can connect with them. So I can now ask our senior faculty, Pitambar sir, to deliver vote of thanks before we conclude. Sir.
Madam, Bhunya sir asking something.
Yes.
Yeah, just I will take 2 minutes more, because I found some questions where most of the students and teachers are concerned about replacement of schools for virtual. No,
Yes.
dear, nobody is replacing school with virtual, because a photograph can't be replaced with your mother. So don't worry about that.
Yes.
We are talking about the situation here. But before going to that, I am just emphasizing one thing. We always eat dosa, chakuli, bada, idli and everything, but we never saw pain in our mothers. How much they get up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but we never. We just ate our dosa, idli, bada and we run to play. But here in the European country, they saw why a person has to make bada by doing this and that. So they invented a machine. Now a machine is serving 5,000 bada in 10 minutes. Done. The problem is solved. So we need to depend on techniques, machines, so that they can help us. We should not be slave of a machine. So here just I am emphasizing one line, just 1 minute, then we will conclude. Just imagine in May 25, 1961, John F. Kennedy told one simple line. I believe that the nation should commit itself for achieving the goal before this decade that a man should land on moon and bring him back. In the General Congress, he told in 1961. So a decade, he gave only 10 years time frame. But imagine in 1969, it happened. The country made it. So we people, we are holding the Ramayana and believing the Puspak Viman, Rama brought Sita by Puspak Viman, but we couldn't make something like an aeroplane. But those people made rocket and they didn't wonder why. Because it is called as the imagination and thinking power. So let's not be the prisoners of our mind. Open ourselves. You are at liberty of yours. So don't make yourself a prisoner. So don't think your technology will make you slave. No. You use it. It is a machine. You can use it. But you are on your own. You can do wonder. You can play. You can go out. So do this. So this is a pandemic. This is not your death trap. Don't worry about it. Believe and leave. That's all I would say.
Absolutely.
Yes, I remember your that means your code word, live, love and laugh.
That's it.
So that is the code word of Prasant Bhai. He always quotes that, live, love and laugh. So we have a lot of living, that means guidance is received from our resource persons. So we have to learn, unlearn and relearn. This is the situation for us. Our old learning should be replaced with our new learning. And this virtual education is one sort of new learning for us, new learning experience, which is going to be a part of our life in future. And we should progress. And as APJ Abdul Kalam has said, we should dream big and make our dreams materialized. So with this, I request Pitambar sir to give vote of thanks. So Sir, you please continue. Sir, unmute. Sir, unmute. Sir, unmute. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everybody.
No, sir.
At the outset of my formal address, I would like to come to Dr. Anil Kumar Mohapatra, Professor of Political Science, FM University, Baleshwar, our chief guest. Thank you very much, sir, for your practical approach at the face of COVID-19 pandemic. And sir, as I heard you during your speech, that I'm very much impressed by that you are a professor by profession, but a writer by passion. Sir, your dynamism, your realistic approach to teaching and learning process, and that has very much impressed us. Thank you very much, sir. As you have spared your precious time in this webinar. Next, I come to the chief attraction of this webinar, our resource person, Prasanta Bhunya from TNO, Toronto, Canada, a land well known for its free flow of democracy. Sir, your contribution as an educationist, poet, author, as a philanthropist is quite admirable. And your today's deliberation on virtual crisis, virtual classes and future of education have been very much useful to us. Your practical approach to COVID-19 pandemic, your positivity and your intellectual discourse has mesmerized us. Although you are far, far away from Odisha, and even at the stroke of the midnight, you have spared your precious time for us. Your address and the deliberation has deeply moved us, and you will always be remembered for us. We feel deeply honored in your presence. Thank you very much, sir. Next, I come to Dr. Nandini Sahu, resource person, the next resource person of this webinar, Professor of English, IGNOU New Delhi, and a Director of School of Foreign Languages. Ma'am, your advice, your teaching on digital education is quite mesmerizing. And your deliberation, national education policy and online teaching through distant mode appears quite practical. Your excellent and energetic oratory, your very practical deliberation have moved us. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your useful discourse, precious advice, pragmatic approach to teaching and learning process at the face of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic crisis. And your informative and innovative approach to study is quite praiseworthy. Thank you again, ma'am. Next, I come to the next resource person from our neighboring state, Bengal, Debmalya Biswas, a profound scholar and researcher. Sir, your brilliant deliberation on a screen-based education is highly encouraging. Your useful advice on the best use of texts shall certainly benefit the participants of this occasion. Thank you, sir. Next, I come to my beloved principal, Professor Brajakishore Bal. Sir, I, on behalf of my department, that is English, wish to express my heartfelt gratitude to you for your active support, cooperation, useful guidance, inspiration, and advice. Thank you, sir. Next, I come to my HOD, Professor Satirani Mahanti. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for your excellent introductory speech, for your strong leadership for your direction, which has made this webinar a great success. Thank you very much, ma'am. And next, my dear colleague, Dr. Sukanti Mohapatra, the organizer of this webinar. Ma'am, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for your wonderful contribution in organizing this webinar at the face of COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much, ma'am. Last but not the least, my respected participants, sirs, madams, my dear students, without you, this webinar won't have been a success. Thank you all. Thank you very much for your precious presence, which has made this webinar a great success. With this, I am concluding my brief speech. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Now, this is the end of this meeting officially. We have that means given feedback forms to all the participants in the chat box. I can give it in the groups also if I think somebody is left. Now, before concluding the meeting, I want to announce that I will share the recording. I will upload it to my personal YouTube channel, and I will share the recording to everyone who is that means our resource persons mostly. And now I seek the permission of my principal sir to conclude the meeting. Now, before concluding, I express my heartfelt and deep gratitude to Prasanta Kumar, to Dr. Nandini, and to Debmalya Biswas and everyone else who is present. Now, before speaking bye, goodbye to all, not goodbye, but bye to all, I seek Principal sir, you announce formally the end of the meeting.
This is the end of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sukanti. It was homecoming for me.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Bhai,
ma'am.
for being with us. Now I am
My pleasure.
stopping this meeting, closing this meeting. I will send the recording to everyone.